In a stunning yet not so stunning move, Kristy Wallace has elected not to come back to the Indiana Fever in 2025. So this is breaking news, and I cannot say that it does not seem like the Indiana Fever were not aware of this decision, as Kristy Wallace has elected not to come back, and according to a press release, she says this: "This has not been an easy decision for me, but one that I make knowing it is what is in my best interest at this time. I would like to thank the Fever organization for working with me throughout this process, giving me both time and consideration, and for their support of my decision. I look forward to cheering the team from afar during this upcoming season." So this is, again, not shocking in the sense that there had to have been something up Indiana Fever's sleeve with making the moves that they did, being over in the cap space. But I just want to say that I really hope that Kristy Wallace is okay, because it is pretty known that she has gotten a lot of attention for her performance on the court not being very advantageous to the Indiana Fever. And there's been a lot of people going around saying that the Indiana Fever do need to get off of her contract. So you gotta think that this probably wasn't something that was like sitting well with Kristy Wallace as a human being. There was an article that came out in Australian Basketball where she did mention that she was focusing mostly on her post-basketball career. So again, all signs point to Kristy Wallace not returning to the Indiana Fever for 2025, but with the addition of all the other forwards to the Indiana Fever, it does not seem like Kristy Wallace would have gotten any playing time anyway. And now this does free up cap space for the Indiana Fever, as her salary was $80,000. So what could the Indiana Fever do with the extra cap space, of which they now have $112,000 in cap space, and you can't think that they are not going to be using that. So this does free up Jaylen Brown coming onto the team. This does free up bringing a rookie in. So what kind of rookie would the Indiana Fever be looking for? They do have 2 roster spots to fill without Kristy Wallace, without Katie Lou Samuelson. So the minimum salary for a rookie is $66K. The minimum salary for a player in the WNBA is $66K. And when you add that up, that is $136,000, of which the Fever do not have. So I think they might just be duking it out in training camp. It's very interesting though, because Kristy Wallace was on a protected contract, which means the Indiana Fever would have to pay her. That is just like money that she would have no matter what. So the fact that she elected not to play does bring up an interesting idea that her and the Indiana Fever worked on this together. But either way, we don't know. We're not going to know. And I just really hope that she is doing okay mentally. And Erica Wheeler also mentioned that you really just never know what people are going through in a post that she put up on social media. Spread love. Y'all don't know what people be going through, man. If nobody haven't told you they love you today, I love you and you matter in every way you can think of. You can't expect anything else from Erica Wheeler, who is just, I think I might say this term a little too much, but she is just a ray of sunshine. Another thing that did come up in Kristy Wallace's life was the passing of her stepmother recently, who had been battling a colorectal cancer. I don't know how close they were, but that is a hard thing to deal with and play through. So that could have been some sort of factor in the decision-making process here. And Kristy Wallace is an Australian native, so her playing for the Indiana Fever would have her very far from home. So wow, no more Erica Wheeler, no more Alyssa Smith, no more Katie Lou Samuelson, and no more Grace Berger. That is a lot of roster changes for the Indiana Fever in the offseason. So the Indiana Fever have 2 second-round picks, and they have Jaylen Brown on a training camp contract. I would wonder if this would be like a plan for the future move, since they have the win now roster like set. And with Sid Colson being a veteran backup point guard coming in for Caitlin Clark, giving Caitlin the ability to play off ball sometimes, I wonder if they might take that second-round pick and try to develop a backup point guard. Maybe someone like a Hailey Van Lith, if Hailey Van Lith is still available at those 19 and 20 spots that the Indiana Fever have. But hey, for all we know, they could trade those 19, 20, and I believe they have a 33rd pick also to move up in the draft. Or could the Indiana Fever be thinking of signing a certain Lucy Olson as their backup point guard? I was actually going back and forth with someone on Twitter, CT Smith. I don't know if he's gonna watch this video or not, but he mentioned bringing Kennedy Carter into the Indiana Fever. And while, oh man, I am the biggest fan of Kennedy Carter's basketball style, I just feel very concerned about her ability to keep things like calm and balanced in the locker room. So I don't think that that would happen, especially with the way that the Indiana Fever does talk about wanting to keep, you know, a very zen mentality. But boy, oh boy, would that ever break the internet. And a lot of people are talking about Aliyah Boston's performance in Unrivaled and how she is not able to rebound, she's not able to score. And yes, 3v3 is a very different format to 5v5. And I am thinking that Aliyah Boston will be relying on a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of like Caitlin Clark gravity and her getting to the basket. So I think that she will have a better performance in the 5v5. But the performance that she is putting down in Unrivaled does give me a little bit of pause, as she should be able to rebound. She should be able to score a little bit. She is at the bottom of the entire league in points in Unrivaled. People are wondering, me, myself, also wondering if maybe they go for some sort of like backup center, but the front office and Stephanie White are constantly talking about the big three, which is referring to Aliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Caitlin Clark. So I don't necessarily see the Indiana Fever having any sort of concern, at least not like out in public. I can't imagine that they don't have any concern if they are watching her in Unrivaled, to be completely frank. And I am a big Aliyah Boston fan. I think there is no kinder person. No, like, she has such a great energy. I just can't not call out what I'm seeing in her game at this moment. And that's that she is a little slow. That is that she is not getting rebounds. That is that she is not scoring. And again, I do realize that the 3v3 format is very different to 5v5. But there are certain things that you should just be able to do. And there are other post players that are able to do this. Angel Reese's game is like growing leaps and bounds. Brittany Griner's doing great in Unrivaled. So Nafisa Collier is dominating everything pretty much. Those are bigs. Aliyah Boston is a big. So we gotta kind of just take a look at things for what they are, as much as I don't want to. But if I were guessing, I would guess that the Indiana Fever would probably go for a backup point guard in the draft and have Jaylen Brown and whoever they pick in the drafts kind of like fight it out in training camp to see who makes that final roster spot on the Indiana Fever. But do you have any predictions about what the Indiana Fever might do with that extra $112,000 in cap space that they now have? Also, just to leave this video on a positive note, here is a video from the Indiana Fever Media Day that includes Kristy Wallace.
No, you're so corny, dude.
She's corny. Why am I getting paid? I let you wear my shoes. Show the shoes.
Oh, you got the Clarks on?
Sponsored by Stacey.